Hey everyone, I'm Dennis Bradley, and I'm excited to introduce to you our team and our final project, Island Escape. Island Escape is a voxel-based survival adventure game where players wake up as a plane crash survivor on a mysterious island. The goal? Explore a procedurally generated dungeon hidden inside of a massive tree or cave, depending on the environment. Fight enemies, collect the raft components, collect relics in the dungeon, and escape the island. We're building this in Unreal 5, and we have an amazing five-person team, each handling critical parts of the game. Let me introduce to you everyone and what they'll be working on. I'm Dennis, and I'm handling two major technical systems for Island Escape, the voxel terrain system and the core combat mechanics. For the voxel system, I'll be building the foundation of our destructible world. This includes creating a chunk-based terrain system where the island is divided into 16 by 16 by 16 voxel chunks. I'll implement procedural mesh generation so that way the voxels can render efficiently, and I'll build the placement and destruction mechanics that let players break blocks to gather resources like grass, dirt, stone, and sand. Each exposed voxel surface will have a box collision, and I'll generate the island layout procedurally to create beaches, hills, terrain, and hopefully a cave or a tree. On the combat side, I'll be developing a third-person melee with a ranged combat system, including the base enemy AI framework that the whole team will use. This means building the health and stamina systems that apply to both player and all enemies, creating a chase and attack behaviors, and establishing patrol patterns. Once this framework is solid, everyone on the team will be able to create their own unique enemy variant using this system. Speaking of which, I'll also be creating our first enemy variant. I'm going to create a coastal crab enemy with a lateral movement, so that way he can scurry across the beach and use his pincers to attack us. My systems are foundational to the game, so I'll be working closely with Marcus and Catherine to integrate the dungeon entrance, and with Edward to ensure the UI updates reflect the voxel inventory, and with James to optimize the performance.
Hi, I'm Marcus Daly, and I'm working with Catherine for creating the dungeon experience in Island Escape.
I'm Catherine. We're making sure the dungeon inside the tree cave is exciting and challenging.
We're building the procedural dungeon with 5 to 10 room templates that connect differently each time. We're hiding 6 raft components throughout the level that the player has to find to create their escape vehicle. We will also be hiding relics that give the player boosts and special abilities.
We're also creating a dungeon traps like collapsing floors, closing spike walls, rolling boulders, and swinging axes. These add timing, challenges, and keep players alert.
I will be designing the dungeon entrance and exit system to follow the theme of a giant tree trunk or a cave entrance that the player has to enter. I will be working closely with Dennis to integrate it with the voxel world.
For enemies, I'm creating a bat variant that flies in upper areas, forcing players to use range attack.
For enemy types or traps, I am going to be adding in a drop spider that falls from the ceiling to ambush the player or spinning damaging walls.
I'll be collaborating mainly with Marcus on trap implementation and room design, and with James for lighting and sound effects.
Hi, I'm Edward, and I'm handling all the UI, UX, and the game flow systems that tie the player experience together. On the UI side, I'd be creating the heads-up display, including the hotbar that shows voxel, inventory counts, the WAF component collection tracker, so the player know what they still need to find, health and stamina bars for the player, and a crosshair for targeting. All of these needs to update in real time as Dennis systems send data about what the player collects and their current stats. For game flow, I'm implementing the core logic that moves players through the experience, spawning the player on the beach at the start, triggering the raft building sequence when all components are collected, and creating the victory sequence the player sails through the cove to escape. I also be adding player feedback systems, visual and audio cues that conforms actions like collecting items or taking damage. For my enemy variant, I'm designing a tribal warrior enemy, a humanoid opponent with more complex melee battles that players will encounter deeper in the dungeon or on the island. I'll be coordinating with everyone, Dennis for system data, Marcus and Catherine for dungeon UI elements, and James to ensure all UI animations and sounds are polished and bug-free.
Hi, I'm James, and I'm the integration and polish lead, which means I'm responsible for making sure everything comes together smoothly and feels great to play. My main job is asset integration, bringing in free marketplace assets and placeholders, making sure they work with everyone's systems, and maintaining visual consistency across the game. I'll be implementing sound effects for footsteps, combat, voxel breaking, and ambient music for both the island and dungeon. I'll also add particle effects for combat hits, voxel destruction, and other game events to make actions feel more impactful. Beyond that, I'm handling testing and bug fixing. As everyone builds their systems, I'll be playtesting constantly, finding issues, and working with each team member to resolve them. I'm also managing our builds, making sure we have stable versions of the game at key milestones, and that everything compiles correctly. For my enemy variant, I'm creating a coastal crab enemy with lateral movement patterns that scuttles along the beach and uses pincer attacks. And I'll be in constant communication with the whole team, but especially with Dennis to optimize voxel performance, Marcus and Catherine to polish dungeon atmosphere, and Edward to ensure UI feels responsive and smooth.
So that's our team and our plan for Island Escape. We have a clear 20 to 30 minute gameplay experience, explore the island, dive into the dungeon, fight unique enemies, collect raft components, collect relics, and build your raft and escape. Each of us brings critical skills to the table, and we're excited to build this voxel survival adventure together in Unreal 5. Thank you for watching, and we can't wait to show you what we can create.